Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Sometimes silence speaks louder than any word ever could. You see, when a man truly craves you, when you're living in his mind, when he can't stop thinking about you. His silence doesn't always mean he doesn't care. In fact, it often means he cares more than he knows how to handle. A man's silence is rarely empty. It's full of thoughts, fears, pride, confusion, and emotions he's trying to make sense of. He's replaying moments, questioning his own feelings, wondering if you feel the same. But he's not ready to expose his heart. When a man cares deeply and his heart is stirring, he often finds himself looking inward, battling a swarm of doubts and questions instead of voicing how he feels. Many men have been socialized, either explicitly or implicitly, to believe that showing emotion or admitting fear is a sign of weakness. Psychology Today for 3 caps. Umich. Edu porta 3 purposisal athletics. Com for 3, this means that even though he craves you in his thoughts and in his longing, he might choose silence as his shield, because speaking up means opening himself up to possible hurt, rejection, misunderstanding, risks he may not feel prepared to take. When he stays quiet, it's not always about the absence of feeling. It can be about the presence of feeler. He wonders, will I be judged if I say how I feel? What if I love you and you don't feel the same way? What if I show you I'm vulnerable and then lose respect? These fears are real and they weigh heavy. For instance, research shows that men often shy away from vulnerability because they think it undermines their identity or value in a relationship. Psychology Today, Fluffy 1, and when emotional expression is viewed as weakness, even the strongest feelings can be silenced. So his silence can actually signal something very intense. He's there wanting you, but he is structurally stuck by his fear of being seen fully, of being open, of risking your reaction, and of losing a part of himself in the process. In that silence, many emotions swirl: admiration, longing, hope, confusion, guilt, shame. But outwardly, you see nothing, because silence becomes the only way he knows to protect both you and himself while he figures out whether it's safe to step forward. Men process emotions very differently from women, and that's why when they care deeply, they often go silent instead of expressive. It's not that they don't feel. It's that they've been conditioned to handle feelings in isolation. From a young age, most men are told to be tough, to hide their pain, to solve problems quietly. So when a man starts to feel love, desire, or emotional attachment, his natural instinct is not to talk about it, but to retreat and make sense of it alone. His silence becomes his comfort zone, a space where he tries to decode what's happening inside him before he risks saying it out loud. When he goes quiet, he's not necessarily pulling away. He's thinking. He's analyzing how you make him feel, how much he's willing to open up, and whether or not you'll meet him with understanding or rejection. Silence, for a man, is not always avoidance, it's reflection. It's how he builds emotional stability before letting his guard down. While women might talk to process emotions, men think in solitude. They want to make sure that when they do speak, it comes from a place of control, not chaos. That's why some men disappear emotionally when they start catching real feelings. The intensity scares them because they're not used to being emotionally vulnerable. This quiet space is also where many men wrestle with insecurity. They ask themselves if they're enough, if they can handle commitment, or if their feelings will be reciprocated. It's an emotional tug of war between desire and doubt. His silence isn't always rejection. It's self-protection. But what often gets misunderstood is that his lack of words can make the other person feel unwanted or unloved, when in truth, his silence may be the very sign that he's overwhelmed by what he feels. So when a man goes silent, it's not always the end of connection. It can be the start of understanding. Because in that stillness, he's not forgetting you. He's figuring out how to show you what he's been too afraid to say. Fear of rejection or vulnerability keeps many men from expressing desire, and that fear runs deeper than most people realize. When a man feels something powerful for someone, it doesn't automatically translate into open communication. Instead, it triggers a storm inside him a battle between what he feels and what he fears. He's drawn to you. He wants to reach out. He wants to confess what's in his heart, but at the same time, he's terrified that doing so could expose him to pain, judgment, or loss of control. This is not weakness, it's emotional conditioning that's been built over years. Society has taught men that expressing tenderness makes them appear soft or dependent, and for many, that's a terrifying idea. So instead of being transparent about his desire, he hides it behind silence. He convinces himself that it's safer not to say anything than to risk being vulnerable. Every text he doesn't send, every word he swallows, every moment he looks at you but says nothing. Those are his quiet battles. He's guarding himself, afraid that his emotions might betray him. Some men carry scars from rejection that still echo in their hearts. They've been turned away, misunderstood, or made to feel foolish for caring too much, and now they protect themselves by pretending not to care at all. But deep down, that craving doesn't go away. It lingers. It's in the way he looks at you when you're not watching, the way he remembers the smallest details, the way he pulls back just when you think he's about to open up. His silence isn't empty. It's loaded with what he wishes he could say. That's the paradox of a man's heart. The stronger the emotion, the quieter he often becomes. And sometimes, that silence is his way of showing he's scared of losing something real before he's even had the chance to hold it. Silence can often be a power play rooted in ego or emotional immaturity. When a man craves you but chooses not to speak, sometimes it's not fear or confusion that keeps him quiet. It's control. His silence becomes a way to test you, to see how much you'll reach out, how far you'll go to prove your feelings. It's a form of emotional chess where he holds back his moves, not because he doesn't care, but because he wants to feel in charge of the connection. The ego thrives on power, and for some men, maintaining that sense of control feels safer than exposing genuine emotion. By staying silent, he convinces himself that he's the one setting the pace, even if it's driven by pride rather than love. There are moments when silence becomes his defense mechanism, but also his manipulation. It's a way to protect his pride, to avoid appearing too invested or vulnerable. Many men fear giving too much too soon, so they use silence to create mystery or to make you chase them. It's not always intentional cruelty. It's often a reflection of emotional immaturity, where he hasn't yet learned that true connection requires openness, not games. Ego whispers to him that silence equals strength, that needing someone makes him weak. So he withdraws, waiting for you to make the first move, while convincing himself that he's maintaining control. However, beneath the act of control often lies insecurity. He may be afraid that if he shows you how much he cares, he'll lose leverage. He may fear that you'll lose interest once you see how deeply he's attached. And so his silence becomes his armor, strong on the outside but fragile underneath. The sad truth is, this kind of silence doesn't protect love, it pushes it away. Because while he's trying to protect his ego, he's often losing the very connection his heart craves most. Craving doesn't always equal readiness, and that truth can be hard to accept. A man may crave your energy, your warmth, your presence, and still not be emotionally equipped to handle the depth that comes with truly being with you. Desire and readiness live in two different worlds. He may want you deeply, but wanting someone and being prepared to love them are not the same. Craving is emotional impulse. It's attraction, longing, fascination. But readiness is maturity, the ability to commit, to communicate, to be consistent. Many men get caught in that gap between craving and readiness. They feel the pull toward you, but they haven't yet built the emotional foundation to sustain what they feel. When a man isn't ready, his craving often turns into confusion. He may start strong, chase you, admire you, then suddenly go quiet or distant. It's not because the craving disappeared, it's because reality hit. The emotions grew faster than his emotional growth. He realizes that to be with someone like you requires effort, patience, honesty, and vulnerability. And that's a level of depth he might not be ready to dive into. Craving feels good because it's exciting and passionate. But commitment feels heavy because it demands responsibility and consistency. That's why many men retreat when things start getting real. They mistake intensity for love, and when the intensity fades, they panic. Sometimes a man's silence after craving you is not about losing interest, it's about hitting his emotional limit. He wants to keep you in his thoughts, but not in his responsibilities. He wants the feeling without the effort. And that's where the truth lies. Craving doesn't mean he's capable of building something lasting. Readiness comes from self-awareness and growth, not just desire. So when he's silent despite craving you, it might not be that he doesn't care. It's that he knows deep down he isn't ready to match the kind of love you're ready to give. The man who truly wants you will break his silence with action, not words. Because when feelings are real, silence can't last forever. It starts to feel heavier than fear. A man who genuinely craves you may hesitate at first. He may overthink or hold back. But eventually, his desire to be near you will outweigh his need to protect his ego. Real connection doesn't survive on silence alone. It demands presence, effort, and courage. When a man's heart is truly invested, he won't just think about you. He'll move toward you. He'll reach out, show up, and make it known that he values what he feels. His silence may begin as self-protection, but love will push him past that comfort zone. The difference between words and actions becomes crystal clear when emotions deepen. Anyone can talk, but not everyone can show up consistently. The man who truly wants you will not want to leave you guessing. He'll make sure you feel seen, not confused. His effort will speak in the way he checks on you, remembers small details, and stands by you even when it's inconvenient. You won't have to decode mixed signals because his energy will be consistent, not conditional. His actions will reflect a quiet truth, that he values you enough to be vulnerable, to risk rejection, to bridge the silence he once hid behind love. At its truth, doesn't stay quiet forever. It finds a way to express itself, even through small gestures. Whether it's a call, a text, a visit, or a simple word of reassurance, a man who truly wants you will take that step, because real desire cannot survive in stillness. It needs movement to breathe. So if he's breaking the silence, if he's showing effort without needing validation, that's when you know his feelings aren't just a passing craving. They're real, grounded, and ready. The man who truly wants you won't just crave you. He'll claim you with honesty, courage, and action.